Boom, what's up everyone? Welcome to Simulation. I'm your host Alan Sakyan. We have another very thought-provoking topic we're talking about today in a very nuanced driven way. We're going to be talking about sociopathy and Jake Paul. The idea of a maverick, a sociopath, a psychopath, and a megalomaniac. So we'll be kind of illustrating out this spectrum, and also just remember, take a breath, get into your body and your heart. Relax. And we're going to be talking about this in a very calm and nuance-driven way, and we hope that we inspire other people to have these sort of multivariate and nuanced and calm discussions about these very thought-provoking topics. So in order to start, we have to actually explain how complex human behavior is. It's really difficult to explain in a nutshell, and there have been 100+ billion people that have lived and died before us today to build this world that we have now. That means they had different experiences, different perceptions of reality, and now today with technologies and attention economies, that's added a whole new set of variables to the equation. So there are people that have studied tens of thousands of mental states, but that doesn't mean they have a good understanding of how new variables of technology and attention economies have changed the landscape of mental states. And that's the same thing for people who understand tech and attention economies but don't understand the deep human psyche. So I'm attempting to come at this from a nuance-driven, multivariate, calm, and reductionist approach where I'll be outlining what I feel are the most pressing issues and examples around the topic. This is a serious issue for some people, and it needs to be treated as such. For others, it's a little more about being different in a conformist society, and let's jump into unpacking this more. So first things first, there is definitely something strange. We'll get to definitions of these four words on the spectrum, but there's something very strange about putting yourself on camera for even just a couple of people to watch like right now, let alone for millions of people to watch. There's something strange about what that does to the mind. This impacts the mind and soul in ways that are very wild and that we need to understand more, because when you do something like put out clickbait thumbnails or clickbait video titles or clickbait article titles or clickbait newspaper headlines or magazine covers, people are just trying to grab attention. This is a limited cake. It's a zero-sum game. There are only 7.5 billion people that are awake, and they're awake for 16 hours a day. You multiply 7.5 by 16, you get 120 billion hours of attention every single day. And that's all you get. It's a zero-sum game, the cake. So if I'm taking your attention right now, that means Facebook or Instagram or someone else is not getting your attention. So that means my slice of the cake got bigger and theirs got smaller. So it's a zero-sum game in that sense. So that's why all of these attention-grabbing mechanisms that are being made are also deeply rooted in the fact that that's how they make money. People make money based on ads. We here at Simulation care so much about inspiring people to build the future and rebirthing the public intellectual and scaling our impact. And we don't need to do so through advertisements and paid subscriptions to this content. No, we need to do this by disseminating this as widely as possible and getting people inspired in that sense. So really think about what the attention economy is doing to catalyze people's behavior in this direction of clickbaity. So technology has built a lot of trust. So we leave these digital footprints, and we are now racing against other content creators for these views and attention so we can stay relevant and grow faster than others. So this does build up some sort of sociopathy in some content creators because they're doing their best to do something usually dangerous or lacking regard for their own safety or for the rights or safety of others in order to go viral and stay relevant. Right now, we're not doing anything dangerous or violating the rights of people. This is a very educational channel. But there are other channels where people are lighting cars on fire and they're putting thumbnails that say like, check out how we lit a car on fire and stuff like that. And that puts people at risk, which we'll get into more below. So let's actually consider how YouTubers make content to grow these sort of audiences in ways that are dangerous versus YouTubers that grow content, that grow audiences that make content that's educational. It's a very big difference here. So let's define these words now. Let's define sociopath and psychopath first, and this is through a compilation of psychology and medical online sites. So sociopaths tend to lie, break laws, act impulsively, aggressively, lack regard for their own safety or for the safety rights of others. This is most closely represented by antisocial personality disorder, ASPD, and it may begin to show symptoms in childhood, but the condition can't be diagnosed until adolescence or adulthood, and symptoms may lessen with age. Psychopaths have persistent antisocial behavior, impaired empathy and remorse, and bold, disinhibited egotistical traits, classified as personality disorder as well. So I think the biggest distinction there between sociopath, psychopath is the persistence with the psychopath of the antisocial behavior, and also the very bold egotistical traits and that impaired empathy. So the fact that the empathy is really impaired as well as the ego is really high. So that's kind of the difference with sociopath and psychopath for what I'm understanding. And that this sort of tendency to lie or break laws or act impulsively or aggressively is something that is a little bit different that we're going to unpack a bit here. And I think we need two more definitions for the spectrum that we're describing. So the next definition is megalomaniac. It's a pathological egotist, someone with a psychological disorder with symptoms like delusions of grandeur, obsession with power, and omnipotence, all-knowingness. So we're now illustrating the spectrum where we have sociopath, we have psychopath, we have megalomaniac, and then we have a maverick. A maverick is an unorthodox, independent-minded person, individualist or eccentric, unusual. So now we have maverick, sociopath, psychopath, megalomaniac. Okay? So if you're a maverick, you're just different. You just behave differently. This is a spectrum, so it's not binary. Some people are very sociopathic that teeter on psychopathy. Some people are barely sociopathic at all. Some of the most well-known figures in our world are megalomaniacs, and this is evident in their behavior with fame, wealth, and disregard for others completely. So back at this understanding of mavericks and slightly sociopathic people. I don't like all of societal constructs, and I feel like some of these societal laws we've constructed push conformity of thinking. And that's bad for diverse, innovative thought. So some people push back on these societal laws and end up somewhere in the spectrum. In many ways, these people don't have a disorder. They see society has a conformity issue, and they may want to bring novel, sometimes playful, sometimes disruptive ideas to the monoculture of behavior. I think this is actually very common in society. People that see themselves as unorthodox, independent-minded, eccentric, people that see societal laws or constructs and say that I don't want to follow those. I want to have innovative thinking that could actually move society forward. And so a lot of entrepreneurs in that sense are slightly sociopathic. They see the way that the current system is and they want to say that those laws and those constructs aren't that good and I know how to make them better. And when they do and people like them, that's when they get big. We really have to think about it on the spectrum. So then there's also technically some people struggle with mental illness on the spectrum where they can't actually feel other people's emotions. And an inhibition like this can lead to serious problems. That person can't control their ego and is power hungry. They could begin using other people in their chess game of civilization that they're trying to win. They could become skilled actors expressing empathy when they really feel nothing in order to manipulate. This leads to serious problems, and this is a serious mental issue. But sometimes normal people that are running businesses feel this way for short bursts of time, and they're not crazy. They just try their best to counter the feelings of power and ego rising and feel like they are using other people to build their dreams with loving and caring thoughts for people that are helping them, and how what they're building will hopefully help them transcend. Some people can even have these disordered thoughts arise and fade. So here I'm describing how people that are building businesses see that, yeah, they're actually having people work with them on building the business, and sometimes they get these thoughts that come to their mind about how, oh my gosh, this is ego, this is power, and they start feeling different because of that. And they have to do their best to transcend their ego. So again, sometimes you can go up the spectrum in a moment of success, let's say, and then you have to transcend your ego and move off the spectrum completely and just be completely transcendent of it. It's very difficult to do that, and that it happens in bursts of time as well. So again, it's not binary. And this one's really crazy, but people with fame, power, influence, great wealth may potentially gain feelings of superiority more frequently and need to do even more work to calm their egos and transcend that feeling of superiority. And this is extremely difficult to do, and let me give you this example. When people want to take photos of with you everywhere you go, where everyone wants to email you to work with you, your time's being pulled in so many different directions. Some famous people have even said, I don't know if you'd want to be me, and imagine if you can't turn this off. This means walking around and going everywhere and not being able to be at peace because everybody's always trying to get something from you. Again, this fame, power, influence, wealth being nonstop, not being able to normally walk around without being recognized unless you go to a foreign place where nobody knows you. That becomes a strange feeling after a while, where everything you say online is under deep scrutiny by the media and public, and people are soundbiting you and making it seem like you meant things that you really didn't mean. This is a nightmare at times. Your sense of privacy is gone. Your kids are being manipulated at times for people's personal gain towards you. It's a big mental soup that people get put into position like this. So when you get into a high-ranking position somewhere on YouTube, I feel that things get even more complicated because you get in all this mess, plus you have to keep creating content, keep your viewership engaged, sharing, growing, keep them buying merchandise and following your spin-off accounts. And this is where a lot of the social issues can come into play if you're doing things like setting cars on fire in public settings and then posting those videos to attract viewership. That car was set on fire might have been in a neighborhood where it was tough for someone to breathe, or it scared old people or children, or God forbid caught a tree on fire and needed the department called and could have injured someone, or you could have been injured, or some of your friends could have been injured in doing the stunt. There are plenty of videos of people doing insane things where they are teetering with life and death, and that is their choice. And there are even videos where people die from doing these stunts. And what is that for us? A wake-up call? Did they leave us early because of the viral video age, or was this the warning they were supposed to leave? Really stay with that feeling for a moment. Were they really teetering with life and death to try and get views? Is this really the world that we're building? Teetering with people's health that is not even their own, their livelihood, their injury? Some people have even proposed a change in social metrics on accounts, not seeing likes or followers, and equating that to being able to see how much money people have in their bank account stamped on their t-shirt. Whatever the augmentation we pick, we must soon act because our morals and ethics are making changes to better things with our wisdom over technology. It's just not keeping up, and letting it run rampant is going to cause many more unforeseen issues, but also possibly some successes with great people to see things in new ways and flourish in that sense. So again, we need to augment our morals and ethics to deal with this age of technology and the attention economy. And we also need to be okay with some mavericks and slight sociopaths of changing some sort of the societal fabrics for the better. So technology and limits in attention and time for humans alive are causing a new wave of narcissism, and placing people on the spectrum is not easy, nor is placing myself, and it takes a lot of reflection to be completely honest and to self-work to transcend these feelings of superiority. Be skeptical when you see videos that seem like they're luring you in to watch. How educational will this video be? How true is this article with this really catchy headline? How many other sources of truth should I explore to verify this? Rarely do we find things that are binary, and where people fit on the spectrum is challenging, and dedicating mental resources to better understanding ourselves and society in this regard is generally good ideas. So I credit the conversation getting rolling and having us critically think about it. The attention cake is zero-sum. YouTubers know this. They know they need to stay relevant. They are not selling product services like entrepreneurs. They're selling video content and merchandise mostly. So them acting wild in cases to give viewership shouldn't really be a surprise, and neither should the people at home hungry for this content, because people also like watching more dangerous, unsafe, and thrilling content. Now, when people's rights, safety is put at risk in harmful ways without consent, that is very dangerous and needs to be better addressed. There's a lot more to unpack here. I think this is a nuance-driven and relatable start. So remember a couple key points. People land in all different places on the spectrum. Some are problematic, some are challenging societal constructs, everything from maverick, sociopath, psychopath, megalomaniac, problematic, and also challenging societal constructs. Remember, it's not binary, it's a massive spectrum. The attention cake is a zero-sum game, so people are being radical to get larger slices of cake and make money. Be vigilant, scrutinize this, and feel out how we can best address the issues we are seeing arising, but also amplify the people that are doing good work. Huge thank you for tuning in. Much love. Go build, go create, go and manifest your destiny. Much love. Thank you.